Good evening, listeners, and welcome once again to a very special episode of Red Moon Roleplaying. Tonight, the moon is full, and I am joined by 3 other individuals as we gather round for a little game of something you might be familiar with, a game called KULT, Divinity Lost. The first person who enters the room, Klara, is that you?
I think so.
Wonderful. How are you on this dark and stormy evening?
I'm quite happy, actually. I'm good. And I'm very excited to play KULT. I've helped write for the game. And I've never played it, actually. So I am very excited.
Excellent. And wait, there's someone behind you. Quick, get to the table. Who, Hjalmar, is that you?
Tis I.
Excellent. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you with myself. But wait, everyone, there was somebody already here before any of us arrived. Sitting, waiting. Our Gamemaster of the evening. Welcome once again, Matthew Dawkins.
Hello.
What are you doing in this dark and spooky room?
I am here to tell a tale of such absolute terror that it will leave your hair bleached white and your socks will spring clean off your feet in an effort to escape through yon window.
Oh, well, that sounds absolutely wonderful. That's what we want. And also, how are you this evening, Matthew?
Oh, I bide well, friend Craig. It is a cool winter's eve, and Christmas is near upon us at time of recording. Still, Christmas is not what we are here to celebrate tonight, is it? We are here for a game of KULT Divinity Lost, and as anyone who has listened to my other actual play with Red Moon Roleplaying of KULT Divinity Lost will know, it's a pretty miserable game at times. It deals with certain horrific elements, both of a supernatural and a mundane nature, and so I think it is only fair to say to the audience that this is a game that can contain, especially this story, scenes of violence, of bullying, of sexual violence, of abuse, of love bombing, of basically a lot of very ugly behaviour, and I strongly advise people to have a think about whether they want to listen to this. I'm not trying to deter you, but this scenario, named It Started and Ended with Screams, which is coming up in one of the next KULT Divinity Lost releases. In fact, it was the book funded on Kickstarter. In fact, one of the scenarios in that book. It is set in St. Jude's Centre for Troubled Youths. Our players are taking on the role of all the way from an 11-year-old to a 15-year-old, and it deals with elements of horrible injustices upon children. It does not revel in that. It does not exploit it. It isn't here to be lascivious or crude. This is a horror scenario, and the characters are not going to be put in helpless positions, but that doesn't mean the players aren't going to want to explore some traumatic stories, and that is partly why we're here. Now, do excuse that lengthy introduction on my part. It is required for a game such as this, and you will be pleased to know, listeners, that I have already been through the checks, the lines and the veils and so forth with my players. They have all told me what they do and don't wish to have included in this game, and that has all been taken into account. It's something that all responsible GMs should do, regardless of the game, whether it's KULT, Vampire, Dungeons and Dragons. It's just the sensible thing to do, and so we are being as safe as we can with each other. We will trust each other, but please, again, caution to you. Not everyone has a pleasant childhood, so think back on yours, maybe, or think about what you're prepared to stomach when entering this particular scenario.
Also, as a healthcare professional, I would recommend that if you at any time feel anxious, short of breath, dry mouth, raised heartbeat, and in any way feel uncomfortable while listening to this, please turn it off. It doesn't mean that you can't return to it when you feel prepared, but please take care of yourself. As Matthew mentioned, this is going to deal with some very harsh subjects that might be triggering to some people. So please listen to yourself when you listen to what is going to happen.
Exactly, and just to confirm, listeners, again, yes, we have all done our checks. We, us three, are all happy to be involved with this game, and we're all good, so don't worry about us. But yes, if you think already this sounds not for you, that's fine. Feel free to skip or move on to something else. That's not a problem. But hopefully, you will, if you're still here, enjoy what happens.
It started and ended with screams. The bus looks and feels like one of those big grey vehicles used for transporting prisoners. You're surprised to find no space for shackles to loop through a hole underneath your seat when you look, but the glass of the windows is definitely reinforced, and there's a door between the passengers and the driver, keeping you all locked up tight as you make your way through the countryside and then the city, picking up more and more kids as you go. A security guard sits next to the driver, but other than standing up to let children pass, he's not taken any action, at least as yet. As the bus trundles along, your mind travels to how you earned yourself a place on a trip to St. Jude's Centre for Troubled Youths. Let's talk about your characters, shall we? It's a drizzling day outside. Perhaps you're just sat there staring out the window. Maybe you're in a conversation with some of the kids on board this bus alongside you. But Craig, could you tell me who you are playing and why you are here?
I am Damien Weller. I'm a young teen, about 15, probably 16 soon. Blonde, short hair, thin, dark glasses. Not that scrawny for my age, actually. It's almost as if I do some form of exercise, at least an adult might think that. Kids don't often think about that sort of thing, but I do keep fit for reasons that I keep to myself. Wearing rather dull clothing, sort of a brown jacket, blue jeans, staring out the window, occasionally glancing at the other kids on this bus, making notes to myself. I have an interesting situation. I, after all, don't need to be here, but I'm going here anyway. Perhaps we can reveal those reasons later on, but for now let's just say that I'm not quite like the other children. At least I don't think I am. But, well, I am just a child, so what do I know?
And as you sit there, observing everything going on around you, one of the other children that catches your eye is played by Hjalmar, a 14-year-old. Hjalmar, who are you playing and why are you here?
I'm playing Tobin Waltz. I'm 14 years old, got black hair, cut short, though I would like to have it long someday, that'd be cool. I've got light pimples, dark brown eyes, I'm mildly obese. I'm here because stole some things, many things, over a quite long time, because I thought that I should have those things instead of that stupid shopkeeper, because he's kind of stupid. He's just doesn't have a security camera or anything. He's kind of, encouraging people really to take things. Or at least this is the story that I've been telling people, and that landed me on this bus. But maybe it's not all that bad, maybe at least my friends, they get away. The ones that took those other things. I guess most of the things, really. But they got away, and that's good. I care about my friends. I'm loyal to my friends. I'm not a rat. I'm not a tattletale or what they call them.
And what are you doing while you're on the bus?
Well, are there safety belts?
There are.
Yeah, well, I would have put on my safety belt, and I have a nice bag with me with plenty of things, plenty of books. Got some nice clothes with me, a few nice things like a penknife. Got a notebook, a diary. So I started writing in that. Then I don't know. Kind of got curious about the other kids on the bus, really. So I'm kind of looking around at them and trying to see if there's anyone I can talk to, perhaps.
Well, someone that catches your eye is considerably younger than you, but has a very interesting accoutrement on her arm, and this is Klara's 11-year-old. Klara, who are you playing, and why are you on this bus?
I'm playing Emily Jansen, and Emily is sitting alone in the back of the bus, but she's sitting right in the middle, staring down the aisle as if there's something she is looking at. It's difficult to determine what exactly it is. She has a look of distance in her eyes, her dark green eyes. She has long brown hair that are braided into braids, hanging down a checkered dress. She looks as if she belongs to a boarding school more than anything. And any attempt of socialization from other kids, she doesn't really seem to acknowledge. She has a pet, well, almost like a plushie monkey hanging on her arm. One of those with Velcro on their hands and feet. And she seems to be clutching it quite closely to her body. Almost as if she's trying to cradle it like a child. She came to St. Jude's because that was just the next place for her to live. She was put in a home when she was 7 years old by her parents, not out of any problems with money or any problems with mental health. Well, at least not as far as she's aware. But her parents simply just didn't want her to be around them anymore. She has some issues that can be difficult to handle if not aware of what they are. And that issue was a task too much for her parents. So she was put there, and that home closed, and now she's transported to a new home.
The bus rolls on, passing through all manner of scenery, built-up parts of the city, urban squalor and decay. Occasionally it stops and on gets another child, and eventually there's at least a dozen on board. It comes to a halt in a part of the city you don't recognise. What you can see out the window is a police station and a hunched-over girl being walked to the bus by a couple of officers. She's all but thrown on board, with the security guard opening the interior passenger door so she can climb into the bus's main body before closing and locking it behind her. This girl looks toughened, dull-eyed, and irritable. She immediately makes a beeline for Damien and sits next to him.
I sort of raise an eyebrow, glancing her over for a moment. Do I get anything from intuition?
Please, make a roll.
That is a 13.
You can see from the way she is staring at you that she is hostile. Immediately, she is looking you up and down like a dog looks at its lunch. And she is practically baring her teeth. The complication you suffer is that she immediately grabs your bag as you're looking her up and down and unzips it. What have you got in here then?
Pencils. And I attempt to grab the bag back again.
Don't you dare put your hands on that. This belongs to me now. You understand that? You understand that, nerd? She slaps you across the side of the head. Do you understand that?
I pause for a moment, feel the pain in my face. I'm very irritated, and I will go and grab my bag back, trying to be quick rather than forceful.
Oh, you're in trouble now, nerd. What are you? What are you? I guess you're some kind of geek, aren't you? I just saw loads of pencils in there. Is that what you're going to do? You're going to just shove them up your arse when we're at St. Jude's? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to just spend your time shoving them up your arse in the dorm? Bet that's what you're going to do with all those pencils, isn't it? Yeah, well, tell you what, you may not be giving them to me now, but when we get there, I'm going to take every single one of those pencils from you. I'm going to take everything you own from you. I'm going to flush it down the toilet. I'm going to burn it. I'm going to throw it out a window, but you're not going to have anything. You're going to be left with rags, you little piece of shit. You understand that?
I turn away from her. I begin watching the rain. I have no interest in this stupid kid.
She smacks you on the back of the head. Don't turn your back on me while I'm talking to you. You little shit, you little nerd. You little pencil fucker.
I smirk. And then turn away again. It hurts now. I'm really holding the urge back to punch her in the face. I don't care if she's a girl. I'll punch her in the face if she keeps this up.
The door to the front of the bus opens a fraction. The security guard shouts down the length of the bus, "Belt up! No fighting!" You've been warned, pencil fucker. You've been warned. She gets up and she sits next to someone else and starts harassing them.
I let out a sigh, rub the back of my head. Doesn't really hurt that much. A slap to the face. I've had worse.
You have had worse. And it's quite likely that worse is yet to come. The ride consists largely of, well, some kids talking to each other quite lightly, quite happily, and a certain level of irritation and mild violence and bullying. It goes without saying that when you coop up this many children on their way to a centre for troubled youths, they're not all necessarily going to play nicely with each other. Still, as the bus stops again, a large boy climbs aboard. Large enough to make the bus creak as he ascends the steps. He is clearly broader and heavier. He's pretty muscular as well than any other child his age. Unnaturally so, you would say. Maybe there's something hormonal. He has to enter through the door sideways. He looks pretty vacant. His black eyes against his brown skin and his mouth just sort of hangs half open as he trudges his way up the aisle. And when he sees Emily sitting in the middle of the back seat, he says, "Excuse me."
Emily doesn't react, not because she doesn't really want to, but she's just not very aware of her surroundings right now. she kind of just stares. Like, she's not staring at him, but kind of past him. She hasn't really moved her pupils at all during the time of the bus ride.
I said, excuse me. He speaks up a little more loudly.
And this gets her attention. She looks like she's snapping out of something, like a trance, and she looks up at the boy. Sorry. She moves over to nearer the window on the left.
Thank you. And he moves over to the right. You can see why he needs the back seat. He's too large to fit in any of the others comfortably. And he sits across, just staring out the window. Much like you, he has that faraway stare to him. Tobin, you overhear another girl. In fact, there's a couple of girls sitting in the seat in front of you, having a whisper. Did you see that big lad? Yeah. That's Mo Rahman. Who? Oh, you know Mo Rahman. He broke a kid's back at his school. Just trying to copy something out of a comic book. Just picked him up and slammed someone over his knee. He was trying to do something out of a comic apparently, but I don't know. He looks a bit special to me. Yeah, I wouldn't want to get on his wrong side, but maybe they've sedated him with something, I don't know.
I lean forward. What happened to the kid?
Fuck off, fatso.
Yeah.
No one asked for your breath between our ears.
Yeah, no. Sorry, I've got a bad breath.
Don't mind about her. One of the girls turns around and actually reaches a hand over for you to shake.
Hi.
Hi.
Shake her hand.
I'm Lana.
Hi, Lana. I'm Tobin.
And that's Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Stick it, Tobin.
Yeah. So why are you here?
Well, that's a bit of a personal question, isn't it, Tobin? I think you should probably go first.
I stole a lot of things.
Oh.
Stole magazines. I stole sweets and other things. Several months. I mean, yeah, like a lot of stuff.
Wow, okay. Well, and this is Lana. She leans over, her face quite close to you. My stepmother's a bitch. She's always been a bitch. After she replaced my mum, I just wanted her to crash and burn. Always getting in my face, always getting in my things, always telling me off, just trying to impress my dad.
Yeah.
So I went on the internet and learned how to cut someone's brakes.
Wow. Wow. You're really clever.
Not really. I got caught before she could fucking die, didn't I?
Ah, shit. I'm sorry. I bet she really deserved it. I mean, would have.
Well, yeah. Yeah, she did. Bitch caught me actually doing it.
Wow.
I thought she'd gone out, but then of course she came back, or she was there all along, or she was waiting for me to make a mistake. But she was there, she was watching me, and she saw me do it, and then that's when she called my father, and they said, we need to send Lana somewhere where she can handle her, I don't know what they called it, like emotional problems. Why are you telling him all of this, Lana? He seems nice.
I kind of bite my fingers a bit. Yeah, well, you're cool too. You're all right.
Oh, thank you, Tobin.
Yeah, that's me.
What can you
so
get
if you
us,
need
Tobin?
something,
Do you have anything in your bag?
it's really boring things because my family, I mean, mum and dad, they just let me this really boring stuff. I never get to do something fun or read something fun. They even got this shit block thing on my smartphones. Look at this, and I just pull out like a few of these books, Hemingway or Dostoevsky, Jane Austen.
Laura takes the Dostoevsky, flicks through it. They tried to get us to read this at school.
Yeah, this one's called Demons. It's supposed to be some kind of psychological drama, tragedy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they were calling me after that stupid bitch at my school killed herself.
Did you have anything to do with that?
No. I was just... She got drunk, she took her clothes off, photos were taken, they went around a group chat at school, and I happened to be on the group chat. And she was a slut. She was putting it out there. Everyone knew about it. And so, people took advantage of her, but she was putting it out there. She obviously asked for it. And, well, I guess she just couldn't hack it in the real world, could she?
She shouldn't have gotten that drunk then.
Well, that's what we said. But... I don't know. I've just got to do a couple of years at this St. Jude's place, and apparently that's me... Whatever, I don't know. They'll send someone in to judge whether I can go back to school, although by then I'll be too old to go back to school, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just find someone to... I don't know.
I don't know too much about these places, but... I mean, I don't know, how bad can it be, right?
Oh, this place is hardcore.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, this is what... There's this real killer's row on this bus.
Yeah. So, Mo, Ramen...
Oh, yeah, they're gonna chew your ass up. Leave him alone, Laura. No, look at him. They're gonna throw him around like a dog with a toy.
I kind of laugh nervously, kind of running out of steam, trying to keep this up.
Well, you know what will get people really... What will really impress people about you? Yeah.
Yeah?
You see that girl that got on that started picking on that pencil fucker up there?
Yeah. She seems...
She used to go to my school until she got transferred.
She came straight from the police.
Mm-hmm. Well, her name's Jackie McCann, but everyone calls her McCunt. She beat up her mother and sent her to hospital. Got to admire that. But if you go up to her face and call her McCunt, everyone on this bus is going to respect you so much.
Yeah? I'm already writing in my diary Mo Ramen and Jackie McCann. I look between Lana and Laura. Yeah. You think I should do this, Lana?
Lana looks... Do an intuition roll, please.
6.
A 6. Looks like they are both pretty enthusiastic for you to go and do this.
I feel a bit hesitant. She was like going pretty hard at that other guy, but maybe I could handle that. I don't know. Somehow. It's important to make good impressions, establish yourself. That's I read that, I think. Yeah. I put down my diary. I go over, and for a second I just stand there and kind of stare at her.
What do you want?
You, and I try to put on a cocky look. You're the one they call Jackie McCunt?
And she leaps at you, nails brandished. Don't ever fucking call me that! That's what they call me at school, you twat! And she's scratching and clawing and slapping at your face, and people are shouting, fight, 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 fight! How are Damien and Emily reacting to this sudden outburst of violence?
I raise an eyebrow and just look over. I generally find it very interesting that of all the people who went to start the first fight in this sort of place, it was this kid. This kid, really? Okay. And I just sort of watch, feeling a little tinge of pity. I'm really hoping the kid, like myself, actually can defend himself, but let's see.
Emily is pressing her face into the seat she's sitting on. She is covering her ears with both her hands and is shaking a little bit. She's closing her eyes and trying to completely ignore what's going on around her. The only words that come from her lips are, "The noise, it's too loud. I don't like the noise."
As you're scratched and clawed at, Tobin, the door now slams open. All of you, pack it in or you will be restrained. And Jackie doesn't listen to this, and she is hitting you in the face now. Are you going to try and fight back?
I'm gonna try and grab her wrist and twist her around and down on the floor.
Okay. Let's go for a reflexes roll, I think. Yeah, reflexes makes more sense than violence, I think.
Because it's defense?
Yeah.
Alright.
You're not trying to break her wrist, after all.
I guess not at that. Well, maybe.
If you think that is makes more sense, make a violence roll, please, Hjalmar.
I did a lot of judo training. That's what my parents let me do. That's a 9, though.
Yeah. It's unsuccessful. You try and twist her wrist. She twists her hand out of your grip and punches you clean in the nose. Blood starts pouring. Now the security officer is making his way down the bus as the children are shouting, "Boo!" and "the ref's a wanker," and other such lovely terms, as he pulls Jackie McCann off of you, slings her into a seat with some force, so much so that everyone hears the crack of her ribs or back against the metallic side of the bus, and that quietens the kids down. He doesn't help you up. He turns to Jackie and says, "Now you are going to sit right there, or I am going to tie your hands behind your back and your ankles together. Do you understand me?" And now she's crying. "Do you understand me, you little bitch?" "Yes, yes." "Thank you. Now everyone back to your seats. I do not want to hear another sound. Not one more sound."
As I stand up, I feel like I almost won, but through the help of him, and I'm about to say something to her, but then my head just starts spinning, and I see all the blood on my hands from my nose, and I just kind of stumble over to my seat again, and I sit there, and I just let it spin for a while.
My attention is on that guard and how he handles this girl. But it's only for a few seconds because I know it would be stupid to stare, so I just look back to my own seat and briefly glance at this stupid kid who got punched in the face. But at least he tried, I guess, at something.
The gates open ahead of the bus. Tall wire gates with what appears to be barbed wire coiled along its stop edge. The great red and brown structure ahead of you could be a prison, a factory, or a slaughterhouse. What it most certainly doesn't resemble is a home for children. A guard within a station just inside the gate waves the bus on through before closing the gates behind it. You can't take your eyes from the large structure before you. St. Jude's is proudly emblazoned above its double doors, and it stretches some way both left and right, tall windows marked with bars to prevent break-ins or perhaps break-outs. As the bus stops, the guard on board allows the driver to climb out and retrieve your bags from the luggage compartment, and once done, ushers each of you to leave, one at a time. This is an oppressive and unappealing building, to say it mildly. But this is your new home. First off the bus, exiting from nearest the front, is Tobin.
I have dried off the blood from my face and ended up with two big kind of wads of crunched up napkins in my nose. As I go out and get a bit blinded. Yes, even in the grey, I squint at the light outside of the bus, and I have my bag with me, looking around where I'm supposed to be going.
The driver doesn't speak to you. The guard doesn't speak to you. Another one of the kids gets off. A 16-year-old, you would think. He looks older than you at any rate. With a shaved head. Just shoulders past you. Picks up his bag. This is like a proper battle royale, isn't it? You've seen the movie? You've seen the film?
No, I want to see it, but my parents wouldn't let me.
Maybe they got the DVD inside.
Yeah, I quickly pick up my bag and start following him.
You trying to bum me or something?
No, you just seem to know where you're going.
Yeah, well, keep your distance, alright?
Yeah.
No, I don't know where I'm going.
I'm Tobin.
Good for you.
Yeah. And I nervously look around and trying to find someone less hostile that I could walk with.
You see Lana and Laura have escaped the bus as well, got their bags. There's some other children have as well now. Damien makes his exit.
I go over and start to kind of join up with Lana and Laura, just keeping a bit of distance. I don't want to try and pretend that I'm their friend or anything, just not to be completely left out.
Oh, Laura puts up her hand. High five!
Yeah, and I go up and give her a high five.
Yeah, the way you got into that bitch's face. Wow. That was impressive for, a lard ass like you. But then she did take you down and break your nose, didn't she?
Yeah. It fucking hurts. Fucking hurts.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got a nurse's station inside.
Yeah. Worth it, though.
Oh, I once saw my dad broke his nose when he was playing football once, and the doctor had to reset it, and I was in the room, and it made a horrible sound, a crunch. And the doctor said it was something to do with ligaments and bones rubbing against each other. I don't know, but blood just poured out.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you won't have that happen.
Yeah. I mean, wish I could film it if I did. Yeah.
Damien. You are also off the bus.
I I take a moment to adjust my glasses, hitch my pack, stretch the neck, look at this building. What a shithole. Thank God I won't need to be here that long. Still, there's a little excitement at what I'm supposed to do here, but it's going to be tricky. The girl took me a bit by surprise. I was expecting that from a big, tough boy, but not a girl. I felt awkward. I even feel a bit of pity seeing how she got beat up by that guard. But whatever. Hopefully, at least, this kid in front of me is going to be her new enemy and not me. And I kind of just move by him and I mutter towards you, Tobin. Keep your head up for the bleeding.
Well, yeah, of course I do. Keep my head up.
Well, you weren't, were you? You can do what you want, I was just saying, whatever.
Who the fuck are you?
Does it matter?
No.
I shrug and then just continue past him.
I smile stupidly at Lana and Laura.
Do you know him?
No. Never seen him before. Have you?
No. You look like he wanted to be your boyfriend.
Yeah. Do you want to be my boyfriend? I shout after him.
Whatever.
At this point, something unusual happens, more unusual than so far. One of the girls in the car park just suddenly lifts her dress to reveal she's got no underwear on and starts whooping and cackling and just jumping around, making a nuisance of herself. Of course, this brings cheers from a lot of the boys, and most of the girls give out derisive comments along the lines of stupid bitch, slut, and other such epithets, until someone's shouting, "Oh, Flash, put it away for fuck's sake!" And she bumps, more or less barges into Emily as she gets off the bus.
Emily is standing right in front of the bus door, looking petrified at what is going on before her eyes. She isn't saying much, but she is standing completely still.
The security officer says, "Get off the bus, push past her if you have to, we've got a time to keep."
Hey. Okay. And Emily starts walking out. She almost walks as if she is a robot. Her limbs are very stiff. And she's not trying to pull a practical joke or get any attention directed towards her, but she is not sure how to react to what's going on. She whispers to herself, "I wonder if she's real."
And Emily isn't the only one who's standing around looking lost. While some of the kids are grouping together, already forming cliques or just bonds of mutual defence, more are standing alone. Some are scared, they just look petrified. Some are crying. Others are just staring off into the middle distance, unsure exactly of what they have in store for them at St. Jude's. Eventually, Flash, as she is dubbed, is dragged off to the side by one of the boys, who just shouts in her face, "Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!" And she bursts into tears. It's a pretty grim scene. Mo Rahman is the last one off the bus, and pretty much as soon as he has got off the bottom step, stepped into the car park, the bus is already reversing out of the gate.
I sigh, taking in all this, thinking, This sucks, but nothing to do about it now. I take out my notepad and very quickly do some note-taking. Anyone watching would think it looks like I'm scrawling little childish pictures, to be perfectly honest, because I write in my own form of shorthand. I know what I'm writing, but anyone else, it looks like nonsense.
And so here you are, in a pretty impressively sized parking lot that may also double as a playground. You're not really sure. There's not any swings or slides or any kind of activities here. It's just a wide open concrete space, in the center of which is this 3-story, pretty vast building. You think that if it was fully constructed, and it isn't, it could probably house about 300, 400 kids, were it an operating school. And from what little you three know of St. Jude's, it is a place for treatment, it is a place for education, and it is a place of security. In the case of treatment, it is said to be a place where troubled youths are treated and made more content to fit into society. In terms of education, it is said that it will deliver at the same standard as the average high school a teenage education. And in the case of security, it provides security to all of the children attending, and it provides security to everyone on the outside, because some of these children have been deemed dangerous by society or their families. There's a sign you can just make out underneath where it says St. Jude's. It's an old sign where the letters have been chipped off some time back, years ago, that said, "A place where families come to work."
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played the scenario It Started and Ended with Screams for KULT Divinity Lost, from the upcoming Screams and Whispers scenario collection. The scenario was written by our friend Matthew Dawkins, who was also our game master. Joining Craig and Hjalmar as players was the talented Klara Herbøl. The music was made by Atrium Corsari and was used with permission from their label, Heuschober. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody, dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, David Hagberg, and Camilla for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for KULT Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play KULT with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember, death is only the beginning.